What's up, everyone? It's a Knife Style here, and today I'm going to be doing my first impressions on the Spyderco Military. So first things first, before I get started on this, big shout out to Idea315. You guys have probably seen him in the comments multiple times. He's been a long time supporter of this channel. He sent this knife out to me for review, so thank you very much to him. And his link for his relatively new Instagram channel where he showcases his cool collection will be the first link in the description. So I suggest if you want to see some of his cool knives, go check that out. So this Spyderco Military, there are a couple modifications to it, which I think are great. There is a sharpening choil built into it right there, and he actually had this tapped for the tip up carry, but just for my review and like my first impression right now, and then my review in a couple weeks or so, I'm going to keep it in the tip down version just because I want to get it more stock than it is. But I think that a sharpening choil on these big long Spyderco blades is very nice, because if you ever sharpened a Spyderco, I feel like a lot of times I'm sharpening it and this little nub here that sticks out just slams into my stone constantly and kind of shakes it up and can maybe mess up my edge a little bit. For example, sometimes I'm afraid to get to it, so sometimes if you can hear, I think it's a problem on my paramilitary too. There is a little bit, that little spot right there. That's just me not keeping my angle all the way out to the end, probably because I'm either paranoid that I'm going to bump into my stone, so I'm not sharpening all the way to the back, or I actually am taking it at a bit of an angle here and I'm not getting all the way to the very back. So you kind of need to sharpen it straight up and down, and I usually take it from about a 45-degree angle. But anyway, quick size comparison. I did change my camera angle up a little bit, and I really like it. It's easy, so now I can see through my phone, but it is at a little bit of an angle. But yeah, this knife just absolutely dwarfs both these knives. I honestly don't have a knife that's very similar in size to this knife at all. I mean, this Civivi shredder here is a pretty big blade, but yeah. So this is an exclusive military with an S90V blade and these nice looking blue G10 handles. Yeah, the military exclusives are really nice. They offer some good ones, like this one, S90V, awesome steel with a cool color. They had the Jade M4 with Blade HQ a while ago, and they had an orange Rex 45 one, which looks really cool and would be awesome. But yeah, I haven't touched on my point on the Spyderco sprint runs in a while, and to be completely honest, I kind of am in between on that. That's how a lot of arguments go. But I did come out and say that I thought the sprint runs were bad. But after watching some videos on the other side, they kind of changed my mind. Just to be totally honest, I'm kind of rambling here, but I had really only watched Nick Shabazz's video, and I feel like after you watch one YouTuber say something, you pretty much completely agree with it after saying it. And so, like, I didn't even want to watch the other side of the argument, but when I did, it really changed my viewpoint on it. And so I don't want to get down into the details of that. I might do a separate video on it, but anyway. This is the S90V with blue G10, and this is a really, really cool exclusive. I'm not sure. I think it might be a bento box shop. I'm not sure. But like I said, it already looks good. And the design of this knife, it's very iconic, and the name military really fits it well. For example, a lot of people are just going to immediately go storming to the comments section, even though this knife is like probably 20 years old, I'm not really sure, and say, why is it only tipped down? And the truth is, if you are like, I don't really know the full details, but when you pull this out of your pocket, your thumb is very close to that thumb hole, which can make you open it up faster. And so a lot of people like tip down if they were like being like maybe in the military or a first responder or something. This could also strap good to like a armor vest or something like that. I'm not very tactical at all, but tip down is a little bit of an advantage if you are a first responder or in the military. And so yeah, and to be totally honest, I'll talk about it a little bit more, but I am not opposed to this tip down whatsoever. And I know a lot of people are, but I am just not. And I think that a lot of people just immediately when they first get their knives, they're like, okay, these come tip up. I like everything tip up. And they never even think about tip down. It never crosses their mind. They're just immediately like, oh, tip down, gross, something like that. But my thoughts on tip down, if it doesn't affect the ergonomics at all, and it doesn't and the carry of the tip down is worse than the carry of the tip up would be, which that probably is the case with this one. but it's still not that bad of a carry. What I'm kind of talking about is the Kershaw leak here when it's a spring assisted and this is tipped down. So if you hit this flipper tab in your pocket, it's going to shoot up out and you will have an open knife pointing up towards yourself. But anyway, the tip down, basically what I'm trying to say is that it's not bad for me at all because it does not create a hot spot whatsoever in ergonomics. So I have been doing some misflips because I'm under my camera here, but this knife has a very tuned detent. Like, I can Spidey flick that very good. I've just been messing up just because it's a big blade, and to be totally honest, I'm not used to it. I'm used to this Para 3 where I can just kind of just barely do it. This detent on my Para 3 lightweight is very strong, and so this one I'm just not as used to, but in an EDC situation, I'm just going to thumb roll that most of the time. Thumb flicking, you can do it, but I do usually put a little bit of wrist onto it, but I can do it with no wrist. Actually, let me do that again. Yeah, I can do it with no wrist, and I can Spidey flick too, but I just think the best for all Spydercos is for me to thumb roll it, and so that is good. And one thing, I'm just completely going totally off my outline sheet, but anyway, this is the steel liner lock here, and I really like this, and it really makes me question why Spyderco has not used this more, because this liner lock is one of the best liner locks I've ever seen. The lockup is very nice, and this is a very strong lockup. No up and down play at all. No real chance. I have not spine whacked this, of course, because, you know, you're not going to get someone else's knife and just go spine whacking it. But, yeah, that is solid lockup. I'd say that's about 40% there. But it is overall just very good. Is there any lock stick? I'll stick this up to my mic really quick. There may be sometimes if you flick it out really hard, you can hear a tiny bit of lock stick, but there's not at all. And lock stick, when there's a little bit, that's actually good because that means that the steel is bonding to the steel, or like the titanium on a frame lock, the titanium is bonding with the steel. And so a lot of people hate lock stick, and while a lot of lock stick is kind of frustrating, but a little bit means that you're getting a good solid lockup, and that is a really good thing. One cool thing is the amount of lock bar access onto this is kind of crazy. And this very fine jimping is not very rough at all. I mean, it will kind of rough up your finger if you do it like that, but it is not protrusive. Is that the word? When you are gripping this in ergonomics. And I just really like that fine jimping and that good lock bar access. I just think that this is one of the best liner locks out there. It reminds me a lot of the CJRB Centros a little bit. Just really good lock bar access, really easy to push down, and it's very comfortable. Now, I believe this is much stronger than the Centros because I have some lock rock with this one, but that's partially my fault. But anyway, onto the knife. How good this liner lock is, and I'm pretty sure they make frame lock versions in the military too, which would also be cool. It's how good that liner lock is. It really just points to show that the compression lock that Spyderco uses is just, it's really just because they make more money with it. And to be totally honest, they're a business, and I'm not going to tell them, yeah, you should switch to the liner lock so you can get less popularity surrounding your new release knife. It's like, the compression lock, it's super fun to play with, and so obviously people are going to want that over a liner lock. But I just think that this liner lock is amazing, and one of the best locking mechanisms that I didn't think was going to be very good. And that's I could describe this knife just kind of like, I feel like, how could this be made before the PM2? And it really just confuses me because look at around these handles. There's a little bit extra contouring that goes around. These are not chamfered, but just a little millimeter extra of contouring that goes around here compared to the blocky liners or the blocky scales of the PM2. And the blockiness of the PM2 is the one limitation to the ergonomics. I mean, yes, the jimping is sharp. I don't really like that. And this little belly here isn't the best, but just the blockiness. That's why those aftermarket scales for the PM2 are so nice. They are chamfered and contoured all over and would just feel very good in the hand. But then the military, it's just like the ergonomics on this are so good. And I'm going to do a dedicated video comparing this to the PM2. But it's like in this saber grip here, I do not feel that pocket clip at all. I really don't understand. In like a choked up hammer grip, I don't feel that at all. And this could be a very functional grip here. But yeah, this saber grip would probably be my go-to grip. If you are gripping this back here, You know, I kind of feel that pocket clip, but I'm not going to call that a hot spot at all, because what that does is that you kind of see the outline of it there. That's sitting in the meat. Sorry, I bumped my camera. That's sitting in the meat of my palm there. And so really, just the ergos on this knife compared to the ergos on the PM2 are just better in almost every way. And one thing that, if you guys, I bet a lot of people are familiar to the military, but this knife, I'm not going to definitively say that it was made before I was born, but it was definitely, I've only been in the knife hobby for 2 or 3 years, and so it was definitely made before that. And look at this, look at these lanyard hole sizes. Yeah, this lanyard barrel on the PM2, it still is a barrel on the military, but it's like on the Para 3 that has gotten so much hate, and so it's like, really? Like that was, it was like that with the normal military, but it's like this with the Para 3 and the PM2, and it's just like crazy. And especially on the Para 3 lightweight, they changed that issue with the Para 3 with this lanyard hole right here. And I really feel like the main reason why I haven't bought a Para 3, I'd probably love the Para 3 to death. It'd probably be one of my favorite knives. I don't think it's necessarily worth the price when you buy the Para 3 and then you have to buy an MXG or Lynch Northwest clip for it. And I'm completely off track of the military, but man, this knife, if the PM2 would have been a smaller version, like exact replica of this, just smaller blade stock, smaller thickness, just everything like it, you know, maybe throw in the tip up carry, or yeah, tip up carry for the people who want it. And yeah, that is an excellent knife. Now, if I had to complain about the ergonomics, you know, sometimes when there's this curve in the back here, it does not make full surface contact. Oh, I keep up with my camera. It does not make full surface contact with your hand. So when you grip it hard, sometimes it puts excess pressure in specific spots. And I always bring this out, but I'm going to keep doing it till it's burned in everyone's brain. But let me get this out of the pocket. The Sabenza, very flat back here, makes full surface contact with my hand. So when I grip it tight and when there is pressure coming from when I'm cutting a strong surface, it is it is like transferring all the pressure that is put on the blade to my hand, and not just one specific part of my hand. Sorry, I'm messing up. It is putting it towards all of my hand, this whole surface of my hand right here. And so when it puts it towards one specific spot of your hand, that is what creates a hot spot when cutting for hard use and for a long period of time. And so I don't want to keep comparing the PM2 and the military, because I kind of want to do a dedicated video to that. But what else should I talk about more? I have not been following my little outline at all. Onto the carry of this. I want to address this a little bit more. And so the carry of this knife is not deep at all, so I guess I can knock that against it. And it is sitting on this decently rough. Actually, this G10 isn't as bad as... Yeah, it's not that bad. It's not sitting on that rough a G10, but you will have this big thing sticking out of your pocket. And usually when you're carrying a knife tipped down, it's usually only a little bit that doesn't really look like a knife, but that really does look like a knife. But I have kind of cared less about what the carry of my knives are, and that is truly because I've done a little bit of an experiment, and only my family has noticed this. Obviously they wouldn't really expect me to carry a knife, random people, so I've been carrying with a lanyard on, and the lanyard just kind of sticks out, especially with the Sabenza. It's just kind of a straight lanyard. It doesn't really flop around and bend. It just kind of sticks straight out, and so there's a whole lanyard and some knife sticking out of my pocket. I haven't had anyone notice, and I'm going to keep carrying knives and not complain about the clips not being deep carry until someone notices. And I have seen some aftermarket clips for this military that are a deep carry, but I honestly would not go for it, just because the ergonomics on this are so solid, even though it might make them better, but I am just totally fine with how the ergonomics are on this right now. So I feel like I'm going to forget something that I addressed here, but oh yeah, that is a thick pivot screw right there. I want to see, let me pull out a T10 and just see if that's what it is. Okay, the T10 fits, but that's probably like a T12, T15. If you're still watching this, you probably really care about my channel, so I'm gonna stick a T15 in there and just see if that's a T15. Yeah, that is definitely a T15 right there. It's not the best screw ever, but Or I mean, it is a really good screw, but that will be kind of unfortunate to disassemble if you are, you know, one of those people who only has a T8, T6, and T10 driver. And so I understand your pain there, and I bet a lot of the old militaries come with red Loctite in them. Since this was an exclusive, I really don't know. And for you people who like the action of this, man, this completely surprised me when I pulled it out of the box. It was on washers and it was a liner lock, and I was like, Spyderco had to go to the compression lock for some reason, and I guess it was just the action and how your hand was out of the way. But look at this. It just completely, like, it's okay. When you have the lock bar disengaged, it is totally free falling. But when there is pressure of the lock bar going up against the blade, or really just the detent ball rubbing on the detent track, it cannot fall shut. But a little bit of some more fit and finish things. I'm just kind of going on here randomly, but I'm really enjoying this video. Centering right here, it's near perfect. Just slightly to the right, but that, you know, it could just be worked out from flipping it a lot. Like pretty much no blade play with this insanely long blade. Idea 315, he did put an edge on this. So, and yeah, this is a very good edge. Respect to you, my mans. But yeah, this probably won't cut it very well, but yeah, it can push cut through phone book paper very nicely. It can shave arm hair, I assume, but you know, I think it'd kind of be gross to be rubbing someone else's knife against my arm hair, but whatever. Anyway, I am totally off the rails for this review. I measured the thickness behind the edge. It is 19 thousandths, like a normal Spyderco. And for you people who really like the paramilitary too, that thing sits around 20 thousandths, so this will be just as good as that. So my initial impressions from my first impressions, I guess you could say, is I really do like this knife. The only thing about it that is the major complaint that is really stopping me from just instantly ordering one of these right now, or just at least waiting for a new variant to order it, is it's a little big. I'll completely admit that. You know, in my hand here, sorry, I keep bumping my camera because I'm not used to this angle, but in my hand here, yeah, it's big. My hands look very small when you look at this bottom right here, and when I just jam my fingers together, it really looks funny. Like, look at that. I can almost two-hand this when I jam my fingers together like that and choke up. But anyway, the ergonomics and the blade on this mixed with this liner lock, and even though it's tipped down, that does not bother me at all. And if you are a tip-up die-hard fan, you can get this tapped. So anyway, I just said anyway, but anyway. So that's going to do it for this video. Oh, also, the liner lock is amazing, and I am really just confused how Spyderco has not pushed this liner lock on the PM2, and just some of the new knives that are kind of big, but they're compression locks, like the Yo Jumbo. It's got that little nub that sticks out in the compression lock, and while people say that's not a problem to them at all, and I'm not saying that it is some major glaring issue, that knife just plain and simple should not be a compression lock. Imagine if that Yo Jumbo was a liner lock. That'd be kind of like a self-defense military. I mean, this obviously is not going to feel good against the other guy in a self-defense situation. But yeah, I am really, really impressed with this knife so far. So thank you guys for watching. This video has gone on much longer than I expected. Sorry that it was very unorthodox. It was just one of those videos where I was enjoying just going off the rails, not following my outline and just doing what I want. To get a price estimate for this, price estimate, I think I saw the S30V one on Blade HQ for around 200, so that is a little bit up there. But if you think about it, this knife is ginormous, and so more materials obviously going to cost more money. Now S30V G10 liner lock for $200. Money is money to everyone, and everyone can do what they want with their hard-earned money. But anyway, what was I going to get to? So yeah, I was saying that this video, sorry that it was unorthodox, but I was just having fun doing what I do and just babbling on and winging it, because that is probably a good description of my channel's reviews. But if you have not subscribed already, please do. I am going to be doing a 500 subscriber giveaway where I will be giving away this Kaiser Mini Sheepdog. That was a fail flick. Let me get that for you guys. These knives kind of look alike. And I will be giving away another knife in this. Where is it? Yes, I'll probably be giving away this free tiger knife. I haven't decided if I actually am going to give this away or not, but I probably will be giving that away. So if you want to get to that giveaway faster, please hit that subscribe button, like the video if you don't mind, and I'll see you guys in the next one.